Welcome. Hello, Greater Heartland Region, KW family. We're coming at you with another session of Ignite. We're excited that you join in with us today. We're here for Ignite session 8, and that is capture leads with social media. And I am beyond excited to have a phenomenal instructor, someone I look up to very greatly, Mike Dooley. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. I wish
Yeah.
we would change it to section 7 or session 7. Seven's my lucky number. I don't know if I can have 8, but hey, we'll roll with it. But excited to be here with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Mike, tell us just a bit about yourself, if you don't mind there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Being at Keller Williams is the only brokerage I've ever been at, and coming up 6 years. But it's phenomenal to see the journey, and it's a lot of great coaches in the region and the country that I look up to as you talked about, like looking up to people. But yeah, 6 years. Currently OP of Fayetteville in Arkansas. I have a large expansion team, the Dooley Group. We did 124 million last year. I'm also on I should know the exact name, but I'm on the junior KW Cares board for the country, which is pretty exciting. So I just got that nomination or that role, and it might
Awesome.
not even be official yet. So maybe don't tell anybody. No, I'm just kidding. But
All right, we'll keep it secret.
excited to be with you guys. It's a lot of fun, and then blessed for what our company gives to us. And I'm always every day educating myself. So some of the people might be in their car or on their laptop or in the market center at home. Definitely take notes. And I always say a 24-hour rule. If you're going to do something, you have to do it within 24 hours or you won't do it. So if something triggers you to say, you know what, I'm going to do that from now on, well, go ahead, put it on your calendar, write it down, put it in your phone, do it immediately, or you won't do it. I've been to too many trainings where I got them on the back of my bookshelf over here, 1,700 books, and I haven't done half of it. So now I put in place the 24-hour rule, and I do it right then or right away.
Yeah, love that. All right. Yeah, great prep there. You're going to take action. Think about that as we're going through what you're going to take action in. So yeah, and Mike, you pointed out a great point. You're joining us Facebook Live, YouTube Live, possibly, or on one of those platforms at a later point. So if you're in the Market Center, welcome. You got your peers there, somebody in Market Center leadership with you. And we'll go through some activities you can work on together. And yet, if you're possibly by yourself or around friends or family, still would love you to participate. So in the comments section, the chat box here, wherever you're at, bring your ahas, bring whatever commitment you're ready to, and we'd love to be able to participate in that way. So Mike, let's get rolling into this good content. Yeah, of course, we're brand new Ignite, a full rewrite of Sparking Your Career. And this is the first time we've had one session dedicated to social media, not only social media, but the whole intent of how we engage as business owners with social media, and that's capturing leads. So really excited about this today, man.
I can't even wait to get in. I got to get the stat out here. Did you know, and I would love the people to comment below, that Walmart owns 12% of TikTok. Let that set in for a minute. So is social media important? Yes. If one of the largest companies in the world owns TikTok, are you playing in that platform or that social media platform? You need to today if you're not.
Man, I'm already learning stuff. This is good. This is great.
I couldn't wait for that one just because it's like I'm always like, am I on TikTok? Do I need to be? And what I would say is, where are the large brands? Where's everyone else? Where are they playing today? And I think that's important. I had someone say most recently, it's actually a tax-free wealth book, and I love that book if you haven't read it. But he said in there, pretend or at least emulate yourself to be a huge, large business. What things are they doing? What are they doing today? So think about in social media. And we've looked through the instructor guide and the participant guide. And I'll tell you one thing I don't want to forget to tell you too is Walmart. I was in a training and they talked about this. Every one of their videos is 59 seconds or less, because your brain has a trigger on YouTube and other platforms when they see those 3 digits go to a minute or more. They're going, I don't have time for that. So when you're creating content, remember that 59 seconds or less. And that's not on your agenda. That's bonus material, Clark. That's how I roll,
Love it. Bonus on the front end. Love it. That's great.
Well,
So
some of our friends, they might go, oh, I got an appointment. I got a listing appointment. So I wanted to get it right in the beginning so they didn't miss it, right? Give them some good nuggets now.
That's
and make
right.
them want to stay and be like, if people don't know me or they've never interacted with me, like, well, let me see if this guy's any good. Is he going to grab my attention? So I want to grab them from the beginning.
That's awesome, man. I love that. That's good. So revisit our kind of where we're at in this journey of Ignite. Yeah, we're 20 sessions, and this is session 8, where we're talking about lead generation and all the different sources. All right. So how is this important? And as it relates to social media and lead gen, that's our world today. So also just know that we did have, of course, 7 previous sessions, and we've been doing through some daily success system activities and also these other pieces of content. So ask yourself, how are you doing so far? How has lead gen, as we've been prompted in previous sessions, and also through those daily success activities, how is that going? How have you been connecting with your accountability partner? We just want to spend a brief moment at a checkpoint for yourself, right? On every single one of these sessions. That's part of this Ignite experience, not just receiving. Mike, you talked about getting the action. You've got that plan in place. How are you doing? So a little check there. Maybe a quick text to your accountability partner. Hey, yeah, let's double back down on what we committed to. All right. So in this agenda, yeah, we're capture leads for social media. This is our agenda for today, Mike. So let's get at it.
I like it. I think we have, you said 40 hours of content we're going to be throwing at them, right?
That's right.
So we're excited. I think we're going to be with you a couple hours, but we're pumped. And I'm going to place something in there. When you look at the prior 7 sessions, I actually call it a COE meeting, a correction of error. And here's something I don't think we do enough. So if last week, rate yourself. How were you? Last month, rate yourself. How were you? 1 out of 10. How'd you do? And here's something too. We don't say this enough, and I'm going to go ahead and give you this opportunity to do that. Anyone listening or watching, if you're doing meetings just to do meetings, stop it today. That's kind of a correction error meeting. Look at what you did last week, what you did last month. Are you having fun with what you're doing? Are you moving the ball forward? Are you succeeding? I know we're going to weave through some great quotes from Gary Keller. He will tell you, right? You think about the one thing. How are you doing on that? Rate yourself on that. So lead generation, and this is capturing through social media. But I think a lot of times we think of lead generation as just dialing or phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such an aha to me, and should be to you. Lead generation, I would challenge you. If this one is your jam and you're going to have fun with it, then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you have fun with, you're going to be really good at it and you're going to enjoy it. Lead generation, if you are, there's people in my market center that are amazing on the phone, and they lead generate by dialing like crazy, and they love it. They're smiling, they're having fun. It's their jam. Well, great. Keep doing that and keep going deep in that well. If social media is yours and you love it and you're good at it, well, why not do it as your career, as your life by design? Let's have fun with it. So hopefully you're realizing, I want you to write on your paper to the right. I want you to write really big, fun, #fun. We're going to have fun today.
Love that. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So through this agenda, yeah, you'll be able to go through your participant guides. Make sure you have that. I didn't mention this, but if you don't have it digitally available to you, or it's not a printout in your market center, go to ignite.ghregion.com. You can download the entire participant guide. It's all 20 sessions. Yeah, we're on session 8. So all the pages will be 8.1, 8.2 to be able to guide through. So that's what we're rolling through. But yeah, by the end of this session today, we're going to be looking at employing this 10-5-1 engagement system. Now, you've been introduced to it before. We're going to go just a little bit more in detail for today, but we're also going to explain the importance of limiting your social media posts to 20% business content. More to come on that. Also, the richness that's going to come here that you get here from Mike is, identifying like social media engagement strategies that are going to add value to the people in your network, your followers there. So we're excited about this. But one thing we always take before we jump into the content here is take 3 minutes here. Ask yourself, has already got some excitement around here. What do you hope to take away from today? What do you want to learn? All right, something you might have heard a buzzword in social media, or maybe some type of interaction, whatever it is in social media. Ask yourself, what do you want to learn about social media platforms the most? And what do you hope to take away from this? All right, so we'll take 3 minutes, discuss this with somebody within, if you're in the market center there, of what you're hoping to get out of this, because it might prompt a better idea for that other person yourself. So 3 minutes and we'll come right back.
welcome back. I was going to tell Clark, I thought about when you left for 3 minutes, I was going to have you write the word algorithm and spell it. Just so you know, I can't spell it either. And I think that's the thing that I love about social media is obviously there's this humongous tech giants and they're in there. And algorithms are changing all the time. And not that I think any other lead generation source doesn't change all the time, but I think about for sale by owners. And, I know you guys are going to continue to get hit with that and expireds and other ways to lead generate. But there's stats in there that work all the time. 4 times follow up and for sale by owner, 17 days to convert. Those are things that have been true even in the 6 years that I've been here, if you will. Social media is one of those that's ever changing all the time.
Yeah.
But you know what I love about it, Clark, is that you can be you. So if you look at mine and your pages, they're both great and awesome, but they might be different. They might look different.
Yeah.
And I think, when we read through the notes and I was kind of thinking about this group and one things I want to share is authentic, kept coming through and through and through. So for instance, if you don't know how to swim and you're only posting on social media these sailboats and these snorkeling trips and all that stuff, your friends and family will be like, he doesn't even know how to swim. But be authentic. And I think that's important. And I think that's what people are other words you're going to hear today is engagement. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a quote. As you know, the man, Gary Keller, which we continue to learn, and it's up on your screen. And if you're listening in your car, don't look up, right? 10 and 2. It takes time to learn something, more time to implement it, and even longer to approach mastery of it. And Gary Keller said that, and hopefully you realize that in anything we're talking about with lead generation, social media, all the time, and I want you to do this all the time if this is your lead gen lever, is learning and getting better and understanding and reading articles, watching other people. And Gary always says this: success leaves clues. So if somebody in your marketplace or your market center is doing it at a high level and they're doing it well, say, hey, can I get coffee with you? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I learn a little bit things? How do we learn together to get better? Absolutely. And I know if you're in the market center, I want you guys to do this. We'll have a couple times for breaks or actions. Get with someone. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, there's obviously social media is a lot of fun and we're all excited about it. But I will tell you, we're licensed realtors and obviously we have multiple states here. All your states must be different, and can be different. So I would challenge you, make sure you talk to your broker in your office, but I'll give you one example for the state of Arkansas, for instance. So anything that we do, our broker and then our team name. So for instance, mine is the Dooley Group and then Keller Williams Market Pro Realty. Those must be 50-50, the same size, or the brokerage must be, if Dooley Group is smaller, that's fine. But as you know, the brokerage needs to be prominent. Make sure you follow these rules. As you know, we don't want anybody to get in trouble with social media. And as you know, the main thing for most states, kind of being an executive broker, is just protecting the public. We would not want anyone to do a social media thing that seemed like a bait and switch or seemed like something that's going to get you in trouble or not compliant. As you know, you don't need to do that. We have a great deal of Keller Williams people at a high level doing social media and staying compliant. Absolutely. Also, NAR has some rules too, and you can read those, and we provide that in your guide for you. But I just want to kind of throw out this one little asterisk to make sure, hey, just stay compliant. Yeah. So, for instance, if your state allows you to integrate it in a hashtag, KW Market Pro Realty, great. Make sure you're compliant in doing that, but let's have fun with it. We just wanted to call that out for you guys, but fun stuff. And like I said, if you don't know, ask someone and look for best practices. You can look at my pages anytime. I think, and we didn't set this up, Clark, and I'd like to. I think if I look on Facebook, I think I have 5,000 Facebook followers currently. Instagram might be in totality, maybe 3,000, 4,000. Because people are like, hey, well, why is Dooley covering social media? Hopefully it's relevant. I'll tell you one that I don't think, if I remember correctly, we go into that deep. I'll make sure I throw out at you is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really working at a high level for me right now. We are, and what I love about LinkedIn is it's usually someone you've worked with in your past, or maybe someone that's in more of a corporate setting. It can be that maybe you've either you were in a BNI group or another group, and you connected with them. Those seem to be, for me, come list to me's. They already know you have high business acumen. They already like you. They have good chemistry. How nice. Raise your hand. Who's in the room? High five someone next to you if you love come list to me's. I love those, and those happen on LinkedIn. So I'll tell you, you hear a lot of people talk about what platforms to post on.
Hmm.
I'll tell you, I'm using the same post that I'm using on Facebook and Instagram for the most part on LinkedIn, and that's working at a high level. As you know, LinkedIn is a platform. If you didn't, Clark, and you might not know this, Microsoft bought LinkedIn. So they have to continue to be, and don't quote me on that, either bought or heavily invested and almost
Yeah.
own 90% of LinkedIn. But
Wow.
they're integrating hashtags in there at a high level because they realize that's the way people are doing social media.
Yeah.
I love that they're meeting them where they are.
I
So I
love
think
that.
that's really important
Yeah. Well, it makes it easy duplicatable, right? I mean, if you're already putting it in one place, why not cover all bases? Yeah.
for sure.
Love
And
that.
you hear this, let's roll right into this part too. 1051. No, that's not a phone number. No, that's not my social security number. That's a strategy. And I'll tell you, you should have this even in your market center or different places. Go ahead and make up stickies if you wanted to. I have this all the time in the market center or different places in the country. Someone's like, you know what? I'm really stuck in social media. I don't know what to do. I don't maybe have a Facebook, and I haven't been like some of these really young people. It's funny. Clark, a side story. I was interviewing someone, and we were talking about social media, and he's basically like 20. He's like, it's been with me my whole life. And I had to pause for a second. I kind of almost fell out of my chair, and I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right."
It's true.
But some of
Yeah.
us, social media hasn't been with our whole life.
Oh,
We had those
yeah.
rotary phones and all that.
Hmm.
1051 would be something I would even save on my notes page, maybe on my phone. You have a sticky, have it somewhere, just to help yourselves as far as a system. So
Hmm.
when you think about that's really important. What are these 10 engagements or reactions? In your market center, if you need to pause this right now and maybe just ask around, what do you guys think 1051 is?
Mm. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Ten
Clark,
five one.
what is it? Is it 10 gifts you're going to buy me on 5 days and maybe one big gift? Is that what it is?
I mean, that sounds like a pretty good value add to you, to our relationship, but
No, but if you think of the 10 piece, that's the easy part to me.
mhm.
It
Yeah, it
is,
is.
liking some engagement. I think that's a win. And what it's doing, and I told you guys about this earlier, the algorithm.
Mhm.
Social media platforms are learning that you are an engaged person and you're engaging with their platform.
Yeah.
And I heard this actually from Rise or somewhere in a presentation most recently. I think it was Family Reunion, and it never clicked for me until it clicked this time.
Uh-huh.
And maybe somebody in the audience, this might click. Think about an OpCity, a HomeLight, all these other platforms. I hear so many agents say, "Well, I'm not getting any leads, or I'm not getting them anymore." Well, you know what? The platform realized that you're not high engagement, which means a high close rate, which means they're going to get paid. That
Mhm.
was a really simple way to put it, but when I heard it kind of that way, and it was done much more eloquently than I said it. But when I heard it that way, I was like, wait a minute, they're a business in business to make money. They want to work with people that are going to help convert deals.
Yeah.
So think about social media like that. They're looking
Mhm.
for people in their algorithm that are highly engaged on their platform.
Yeah.
So just so you know, our team has done a lot of work in setting this up for you, and this is one of the ways to do that. So ask somebody next to you, how hard is it to give me 10 likes in a day? Clark, what do you think? How many likes are you giving? I know just on my page alone, you gave me 10 likes today.
That's right. I'm a high follower of you there, Mike. Yeah, I mean, it takes no really time whatsoever, right? And then the cool thing is, as we have a feed that kind of puts some things in our front view, it's pretty easy to even find 10 quick things you enjoy, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be just the first 10. Like, you can choose to actually like the things that you like, right? So
For sure.
allow it to have some energy and passion around that too.
Well, Gary says this many times, strategic giving. I would
Mhm.
almost think about your social media as strategic. So, for instance, hey, I love my great aunt or your aunt or whatever. Her cat videos, great, very fun. But if I was doing this as a strategy too, you might say, okay, I'm going to be very strategic in those people. Who do you know maybe is a new investor? Who do you know that's thinking about listing their home? Make sure you're engaging with that person and be very strategic in doing that. And we will
Mhm.
cover throughout this session some ways to strategically do social media. But I just thought, hey, here's a good time to say everything that you do, be conscious and be strategic. We all, Clark, what do you have? 24 hours in a day? I only have 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
Everyone else in the room, If you have more time than that, let me know what pill you're taking or what you're doing. We need more time. But you're trading time for money all the time. So be
Mhm.
strategic in this.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Is everyone good? High five each other. All right, we got the 10. Now, what is the 5? What does that mean? What are you thinking when you think of the 5?
Mm.
And you know something, hopefully I'm adding value all the time. And as you know, the first 7 sessions have already been awesome and phenomenal. We're in session 8, which I wish was 7. As we mentioned, my lucky number. Yeah, we'll go through that again. But something that was not weaved in here that I've read most recently in an article is that the algorithms are paying attention to how many words. See, here's what's happening. Companies all across the United States are getting better at their social media. And they're saying this 10 and this 5 now is 5 comments. But I actually am going to make you stronger and better. And I'm going to go a step further. You need it to be 7 words or more. And
Mm.
not that I want to mess up our 10-5-1, but I want you to think about 7. And Clark, it's not because my lucky number 7, but it just happens to be that. And that's
Yeah.
easy to remember. Is what they're learning is the algorithm. When you type 7 or more words, that means the engagement is really doing something. You're not just saying, cool, aha, I like it, we love Mo, we love Gary, whatever it is. You're actually engaging and actually producing content on there. And that's what they're looking for. Did you know that,
Mm.
Clark?
No, I didn't. Well, and that enriches it for sure because yeah, in these 5 comments a day, I mean, I know I've just made a simple and thinking this plan through and implementing it. Simple congrats, the little confetti sign or whatever it is, right? And just leaving it at that. So good to know what the algorithms enjoy and the platforms are actually pushing out, make it more
And
robust.
your content says on there, and to your point, in the participant might say congrats, and it says spread positive. Say that 3 times fast. You can probably cut that part if you want, or not. Stay authentic. See, we're all people, but encouragement. But just so you know, this is about getting better. And maybe
Mhm.
6 months ago, I didn't even know that. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes I would put a heart. Well, just so you know, the social media platforms going. You know what? Hey, it could be a bot. So think about this now, just saying, as you guys all know, there's virtual assistants, there's ISAs, there's bots. And as you know, there's a lot of, and Gary talks about this all the time, and Jason Abrams and team talk about this tech battle, if you will. So
Mhm.
we're going to get better and let us know, hey, we're a human, we're engaging with you, we love you. And I think that's a win.
Yeah. So a good question that I heard come across this is, well, think about like a time where somebody commented on one of your posts, right? That really stood out. Had a birthday recently, and of course, got a lot of birthday messages. And yet, I mean, appreciate them all, by the way. Yeah, there were some that were rich and very very personal. They had a distinct message they wanted to deliver to me, and it stood out. All right. So think about that time. What was a comment that somebody had put on one of your posts that made you feel seen and heard and special? Right. What would it look like to post the same way when you're doing this 10-5, the 5 comments a day?
I love it. What was your birthday?
It was April 15th.
That's awesome. Well, mine
Yeah.
was May 7th, so just
Oh, you're
passed
serious.
recently. Now
Yeah.
that we want this content, obviously, hopefully we're so funny and good and entertaining, and they love it that it's evergreen forever. But as you know, social media is changing all the time. But I'm
Mhm.
going to give them another bonus tip. This, if you said, you know what, hey, I don't know what to post and I don't know what to do, a really good thing to do, to your point about birthdays, is how people go, happy birthday. So I don't know, I must have got 200 different comments, and they were great, and I'm very appreciative, and some people were probably on here. But I actually received 2 phone calls, and these phone calls, they actually sang happy birthday to me. And it was authentic and organic, and someone that it wasn't, my mom obviously would. It was somebody outside that, and it really meant a lot to me, and it was pretty cool to get.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe actually one was a live call and one was a voicemail. But here's something that I heard in a most recent training is when it pops up, as you know, every time you open up your Facebook, for instance, we'll stay on that platform, it
Mhm.
says, here's your birthdays for the
Right.
day.
Yeah.
Go ahead and record happy birthday. And if you're a really good singer, which I'm not, my kids will tell you I'm horrible,
Not
sing
terrible.
happy birthday or say happy birthday, Clark, whoever it is, and go ahead and put that on a private message to them. And that's
Mhm.
a system. And that's a way to really get high engagement. So if they did get 178 messages, you were the one that heard it first. And I'll tell you, I've even seen people do this at a high level, and I like this even better. if you're adding, and I know this is not command, but we'll weave in command. If you have the command smart plan, it's going to trigger you before it's your birthday. And you want to do that 2 to 3 days beforehand and say, hey, Clark, I want to wish you a happy birthday week. You're going to be the first person. And are they going to remember that? And that increases your engagement and your relationship, which is, just so you know, social media is Clark's in Missouri now and I'm in Arkansas, but are we having fun? We're having a good time. Yes, it's relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what social media and that's what this can do.
Mm-hmm. Love that. That's awesome.
Man, this is going to be a 7-hour recording, isn't it? You said I got 7 hours, don't you? One for everybody. They're like, okay, enough with the dad jokes, as my kids would say. Is one post, and you'll read over and over again. Stay authentic, and I think about some of the posts that I do. Now, it does say in some of your notes, and not that the content is bad because it's ever changing. I read a most recent article too that says your engagement level. So say, for instance, Clark, posted his red day and I loved it. And I actually reshared it. My engagement level is going to go down versus me being authentic and doing the post myself. So I highly, highly recommend being strategic on that. But here's another thing is I know this on my social media. Whenever it looks like, hey, he had it edited, his headshot, the pictures were perfect, the editing, there's even like a perfect word caption on the bottom. They're like, oh my God, that was professionally staged and done. My engagement goes way down. But if it's me and my daughter and we're at the baseball game and she spilled ketchup on me, my engagement goes way up because that's authentic and that's organic. So hopefully you guys are realizing social media, that's really important. So how can that, and Clark kind of gave a little bit out of the bag, how does that go to that 20% rule, if you will? And here's how that does that. If you're showing a house, are you already at the house? Are you with a buyer? You already are. What if that buyer got in your car? As you know, nowadays, I feel like safety and a lot of other things, we drive separately.
We do now, yeah.
Minutes behind on that day, and then capture something that says, hey, what do you think about this bathroom? Wow, how cool is this shower? Hey, whatever it is, do you need dual sinks or single sinks? Whatever that thing to engage questions and get answers. And if you're on a team, and I'll tell you, you could be strategic in this. Tell your team, hey, when you comment on my social media, use 7 or more words. So hopefully, see how we're bringing that. Clark, see how I did that?
I like it.
And I gave more in this one.
That's awesome, man. That's good.
I think if I look at my notes and our notes, we're going to give them about 6 minutes right now to do a post. Well, we're going to do ahas, but I'd like to do both. First, let's do ahas first. So go around the market center, and if you're on your own, you can pause. Maybe roll down the window and just say, Mike and Clark, that was awesome. By yourself, but make sure you still stay 10 and 2. But hey, got your accountability partner, get someone in the market center. And what I would love to do, everyone hold up your finger, if you will, wherever you are. One, I want you to give one thing that you heard from us that you're going to start doing within 24 hours right now.
Love that. All right, so take that break and maybe need a refreshment, do that. We'll be back in just a few minutes. ready.
Hey, hey. Hopefully you guys got some water, some snacks, high-five your friends. Any other ahas, we appreciate them so much. Chat in the below.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, I'll tell you the engagement, when your engagement is high, Clark, I don't know about you, but whenever I go to training and I'm like the back of the room at family reunion, my engagement's much lower. But when
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the front, I'm listening to Mark King, Matt Fedek, whoever, and I'm like, man, I'm high-fiving the energy. I actually implement whatever it is. So
Yep.
if you're in the market center and you're in the back, let's move up, get in the spitting zone, as I call it, right? And here's the great thing is we're on a platform. There's no spitting, only on our screens, not on you. So come up to the front. We'd love to have you.
That's awesome. Love it. Let's jump back in, man.
Let's do it. And we're going to talk about, posting practices, and that rolls right in, Clark. We'll keep going. The 80-20 principle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the 80-20 principle that you think it is from the MREA, right? It's a
Right.
little different in that way, but I love that we keep it consistent.
Mm-hmm.
80% personal and 20% business. Here's what you don't want to do, and this is just me kind of balancing. How many of you know a business page you're following and it was like, buy this, sell this, this is on sale? Are you going to engage with that page at all? No. You're like, you know what? That's a business and that's good. When I get on social media, I want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you want to be authentic and you want to weave it in, if you will. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say, you know what, I'm doing 4 posts specifically today, and this one's going to be personal, this one's going to be business. Let it roll, but it's a good rule of thumb to be aware of because, as you know, you want people to engage. So you might, a funny joke might be on there, but then you weave in this or that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those happening. They happen at a high level, this or that, and it might be 2 bathrooms and maybe 2 of your listings, and you might show one bathroom that's more out in the country, has a cabin feel, and one that's really modern, and you want to get people on there. Oh, I love that modern feel, so they're engaging. Remember, 7 comments or more. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the 80-20. Clark, what do you think about the 80-20? What's something you've seen most recently, or maybe, you know what, a business? That's a bad idea. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that to you. We wouldn't call out a business you don't like. It's all positive on session 8.
That's
But
right.
what is something you've seen though that's a really good? Who do you know that does a really good mix out there?
Oh yeah, that's really, really great. So I think about some close friends of ours that runs an essential oils business through doTERRA, and they do a phenomenal job. I mean, we're very close with their family, so majority of what I see on their own wall is stuff about their family, where they're going, the Cardinals games that are recent, or as we're wrapping up school, there's field days and things. So seeing that in the midst of also a very impactful invitational post about their business, it it re it reinstates it. It bolsters my understanding of what they also do for a living and how they can help in that regard. But yeah, the majority of it is um, as what we'd like to see as close friends, what's going on in their world, and also good stuff about how their business is growing and what they have to offer.
And that's great. And when you think about the 80-20 rule, I also would throw this out. I feel like me, and I'm seeing this a lot, stories kind of don't go into that role. Or that rule. So if you're using Instagram stories or Facebook stories, I feel like that is kind of like unlimited because
Yeah.
people just go right through it, pops, it's quick hits. So I find myself too, even 4 or 5 times a day, posting more on my story, some business stuff, either a cool quote that I saw, Gary Keller quote, a house or whatever, something I like, because people are just kind of scrolling through them just because you want to stay active. I mean,
Mhm.
I know we have some celebrities in our region. Dan Holt, I see him, his kids and business, a mix, Wes Litton, Jenny Wolick over in Tulsa, Oklahoma, James Shaw. I see some people I'm following. They're doing some good stuff. So I would challenge you, if you're not following these people, they do some awesome mixtures. I'm by no means perfect every day, but my wife and I talk about it. I hear her. She said, I'm stepping up my social media game.
That's
She's
cool.
got some really good game happening, and it helps. I would challenge you. I know we have some people that are watching and listening and tuning in right now that maybe don't have a listing. Here's an aha, hopefully, that I would challenge. Please feel free. Any one of mine, you're more than welcome to share a listing on your page. Get a referral. Get some other large people that have listings maybe in your market center and say, hey, do you mind if I share it on social media? They
Mhm.
want to get that home sold. Obviously, get permission from them, but use their content because it's our content together. And I think that's where you win. And I call that, right, we're a tribe and we're winning at a high level.
That's right. Love that. Love that.
Let's
Love it.
Yeah, and obviously provide some on the screen and in front of you some things. I talked about my great aunt and cat dancing videos. Those are always fun. Think about what you enjoy. And
Mhm.
Clark, I think that's something too. There's some things like I love dogs. My wife is not a dog person. So she would not engage with the dog, if you will, a dog owner or a dog person. She loves them, I think, but she doesn't want one. So think about your audience in that way. As I mentioned, I have 5,000 people on Facebook. That doesn't mean they're all going to love all of my content. And
Right.
that's what we're providing here, a list of different things that you can weave in organically. But I'll tell you, like today, my wife said we're going on a hike in August. I'm not looking forward to it. I haven't been that physically active as I need to, been working too much. So if someone saw me hiking every day of the week, they go, "Oh, I know different than that." See, it comes back to you want to be authentic. But I've been to a lot of concerts recently. Those are really good to share on your stories. Is a Tim McGraw video playing their favorite song. People are going to go. They're going to remember back to a
Mhm.
time when they heard that song or they heard that song with an emotion with a relative. Social media is all about emotions, right,
That's
Clark?
right. That's right. Yeah. Be authentic. Yeah. Share your passions. That's awesome.
It's
Love
got
it.
on here, team sports. What's your team? You mentioned the Cardinals. Is that kind of one of your
Oh,
baseball?
I have in St. Louis by default. Some are, yeah. No, I'm not a big baseball fan, but being in Kentucky, it's all Kentucky Wildcat basketball, man. That's all it is for us. So
Yeah. And I have to think about this all the time. So if you had on your the same paper, go back to it 10-5-1, you maybe write 80-20. And if you need to, you can have a little 3x5 card and have it by where you work, either your home
mhm.
office, in the market center, wherever it is. And you say, "Oh, I remember when they talked about this." Here is some of it. Our market center, obviously, we all did Red Day. Are you sharing some of those pictures out there? People want to see you out in the community and helping.
Mhm.
Are you maybe you're not even doing an open house, but you might go ahead and see one. Oh, hey Clark, I noticed you were doing that open house and do a video in front of it.
Mhm.
Take ways to take advantage of that opportunity. Speaking of events, are you all going to this right now? Hopefully, you guys took a picture of the screen of our lovely faces and said, "Hey, I'm learning how to do social media better for my listing clients so I can sell their
Mhm.
home for top dollar in the fastest amount of time." Tell people you're educating yourself. I think that's really important.
That's awesome. Yeah. So good. Love it.
We
It's
threw a
awesome.
lot at them with this 80-20. I think now I'd love to, and I think the slide goes to next is kind of ahas.
Oh, there was one piece here about the community service as well, because they did throw in the 80-20, but then we have this other, what if you went to 110%?
I love that you said 110%. And we kind of talked about this before. I was going to use this opportunity to give you guys another bonus tip.
All right.
Is think about this. And we've heard people on Gary's stage and Keller Williams stage talk about some of this, but I just want to reiterate and want to remind you,
Mhm.
you don't need to be at 100,000 followers. How many do you need, right? Gary says a lot of times you need 5 advocates, if you will.
Mhm.
How do you create something you're passionate about? So if you're passionate about hiking with your dog, I will bet you in your community, if you said hiking with dogs in Missouri or hiking with dogs in the United States, whatever it is, create your own community.
Mhm.
And we're seeing people win at a high level through social media and through a community. So think Clubhouse and think other platforms that it's something you're going to have fun with, you're passionate about, and you're going to be able to be the expert on there. I
Yeah.
would challenge you to create here this community group for yourself and be that. So, for instance, we have one here, NWA Moms, so Northwest Arkansas Moms, and there is hundreds of comments on there. I'm not in it, so I hear from my wife all the time. People saying, "Hey, who's your favorite hairstylist? Who's your person for this?" What if you created your own community about something you're passionate about?
Mm.
I would challenge you. Gary says be strategic in your giving and everything you're doing. I wouldn't allow other agents in your marketplace in there. You could come from abundance, two way of thinking, but I actually would create your own community, and this would be a way for you to weave in business. What do you think about something like that, Clark?
Man, I love it. And yeah, not only build that community, I mean, be able a chance to celebrate your allied resources, contractor vendors you work with, bring them in. That's awesome. I also think back of those more meaningful comments that kind of prompt there. Okay, when was the last time I've received a meaningful comment on one of my posts, it has been in those groups, right? I mean, because we are a little bit more, we're just a tighter group, right? And that affinity we have with one another has more and more enriching conversations and comments there. So yeah.
I have an agent on my team that has a book club, and it's nonfiction or fun, not like a shift book club, which are awesome, and you should highly do that in your market center. But she has got over 25 deals from that book club. What would that look like in your life?
Man.
See
Yeah.
these communities, and it's something she enjoys. And I used to always, tease with my wife too, right? When she would do bunco, wine and having fun, and that's something that enjoys. How do you build your community and do that? And this is
Yeah.
using the physical and then using social media to do that.
Yeah, Mike, that's good because some of y'all might be thinking, well, I'm not really into anything that anybody else would be interested into. Well, maybe push that limiting belief aside, right? If you're interested in it, and there's bound to be other folks, right? What would look like to attract that through social media? Even if it's just a core group of friends, they have other friends, and you could build it out through there. So don't sell yourself short on your passions, right? If you feel like it's not as, or if it's too general, like whatever you're passionate about, you're bringing folks or you want to grow in, simply enjoy, create a group around it. That's awesome.
We have friends on social media. I see them. They're at baseball 4 nights a week watching kids. So you're like a mom of a baseball player. There's so many groups. I'm sure you get so many people engaged with it. I just purchased a Sprinter van, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's any groups. It was kind of funny. I just did this yesterday, and there's several groups that have 18,000 people in there. Sprinter van community, because they want to be able to ask each other, hey, how do you get an antenna for your Wi-Fi? How do you do this thing? How do you do that thing? People are always looking for content, and they're going to see you as that trusted expert.
Yeah, that's good because anybody can. It's a good point, Mike, especially if it's a hobby. Because I know a lot of us, yes, we can Google things, we can YouTube and see the how-tos and recommendations, and yet if you're in a relationship with people and can ask a group and have that efficiency in place, that word of mouth, it's going to make a difference in that. So it's great. Yeah, that's good. I really like that idea.
Well, we're going to keep moving along, if you will. Thanks for hanging with us. 17 hours to go. Let's do this.
Yeah,
But in
absolutely.
the participant guide, I know it talks about just explaining, and I'll just take this if that's all right, Clark.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just highlight a few social media platforms. So
Mhm.
Facebook, we're probably all familiar with. Twitter. So Twitter, for instance, is not one that I've like grabbed onto. I'm kind of like posting once in a while. It's not something that excites me. Just so you know, raise your hand and say, be okay with playing where you're having fun and you're enjoying it. Now, Instagram, I love. I love Facebook. And TikTok, like a lot of you, probably when I first started, I was like, oh, there's going to be all these 12, 13-year-olds. I will tell you, I read a most recent article that said 34 to 54 is the highest engaged TikTok age currently.
No
So think
kidding.
about that. When we started with TikTok, it was maybe the younger generation. Now it's continuing to evolve. And you know what? They're probably moving to another platform that we don't know, that they're not telling us the name yet. But I'm sure that's happening. But also YouTube, Snapchat, and I mentioned LinkedIn, but I'll just call that one out again. But YouTube, over and over again, who owns YouTube? Google does. Just so you know, you want to make sure, and I actually see Google, if you will, I kind of put it in myself as a social media platform, if you will, because you want to make sure, if you do not, I want you to start one today. You need to start a Google page. So if you're
Mhm.
going to be the Apple real estate team, go ahead and let's get that created so you start building on it. And I'm Clark. I'm going to give them some bonus material.
I'm
I'm
ready.
going to give one thing they can do. They're already having their photographer take pictures of their listing. Just go ahead and add those pictures with obviously your photographer's permission and rights to your Google page.
Mm.
Google is looking for algorithms and engagements and content and pictures. As you know, we do this, and everyone go ahead, do this with your finger, right? I can watch this.
Swipe it. Yeah.
Pictures, pictures, pictures. You're already getting those because you go, okay, what am I going to post? Post those to your Google page, because that's going to raise your SEO on Google, which is also YouTube. So you like that bonus tip?
I love it. Wrote it down. Pictures of the Google My Business page. Yep. Love it. It's awesome.
Hey guys, highlight your business. Woo! You know what? You've been listening to me. We've been engaging. Clark and I've been hanging with you. I just want everyone just to take a second. I want you to do your really loud Ric Flair. And if you don't know who Ric Flair is, ask your team leader,
I
your
think he's
broker.
on social media. He's
He
getting out
is
there a
at
little
a high
bit. Yeah,
level.
I've seen him.
So Clark, I want to hear yours, but I'm going to show you guys how this is done. Woo! You got to do your favorite Ric Flair. I want to get that energy. I want to hear it in your belly. Clark, let's hear yours.
There we go. Woo!
See, isn't that so much fun? And
I feel
hopefully
the
they
energy.
remember at the very beginning when we had them write the word fun, hashtag fun. I think that's important. This is what I love about this lead generation platform is it really is a lot of fun, and especially if you enjoy it. I just enjoy it, and I love interacting. And I'll tell you something too is kind of an OP. I maybe didn't do in the beginning, and I'll be a little vulnerable with it here. Say someone else was another brokerage or another team. I was like, oh, they got that listing, if you will, right? We're all people. Now what I do is I say, hey, congrats, beautiful listing. Because here's what I'm doing. I'm building a relationship with that person at another brokerage, and I want to congratulate them. I want to come from abundance. So I would challenge you today or tomorrow to do that. Someone else that we all have friends that are realtors in the marketplace that maybe aren't at the best brokerage in the world. We still love them, and hopefully they'll come over soon. But as you know, how cool is it to say congratulations on that amazing luxury listing? It's about we're people building relationships. And Clark, that's something I've been doing last several weeks and months, and it's given me a lot of energy. It's pretty cool. Do you do
Oh
anything
yeah.
like that?
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's we spoke about this in another session as well, right? We're all in this business together, right? And we have a saying that no one succeeds alone, and it's not just within Keller Williams world. Like as a real estate industry, right? We can lift everyone up together, right? So yeah, I mean, any competing listing agents or co-op agents, I mean, lift them up. You don't know who's going to need that, right? You don't know what's going on in their world either. So.
Hashtag lift it up, right? We'll tell him.
Mhm.
But you know, Gary, whenever he talks, he doesn't say on my headstone it's going to be CEO of Keller Williams. He says realtor. So you just made me think about that when we're talking about it. He doesn't, talk. He just that's what he wants to be known as, and I love
Mhm.
that about him. I
Yeah.
thought this would take a good opportunity when they're kind of looking through the participant guide and we're talking. Is we have so many tech tools right now that are just awesome. So
Mhm.
I know there's someone in the market center or someone in their car that's like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what content to use. I don't know what to do next. Clark and I were thinking about this, and maybe someone could post the number below. But how many true pieces of content are there in designs?
Mhm.
There is thousands and thousands and thousands, especially people are sharing by the day.
Yeah.
So go ahead and grab some content if you need to. If you're doing your 10-5-1 and you're like, well, I don't know what to post today. Well, go grab something amazing in designs. It's already ready to go for you. And you can write in command, you can overlay your own brokerage name to make sure you're compliant, as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
And go ahead and there's your authentic, great, amazing content. How fun is that?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's some of my favorite designs. If you are thinking, okay, what maybe is one to key in on? There's some really tremendous designs around your app. I mean, some very clean, attractive homes, all different areas of different markets, different types of homes, prompting folks of what would encourage them to download the app. So they're there, and definitely ready to use. A couple of clicks, you can share them real quick. Just don't even second guess it because it's that good. I know it's a relief for me, Mike, because I don't have a creative design bone in my body. So be able just to click that better than anything I would spend 3 days on. I'm going to use it.
But I'll tell you one thing. If you're around me a lot, I just one take wonders. I basically always talk about is I just post it. I just get it out there. I have too many friends and too many people I know. They're like, oh, the lighting wasn't right. I didn't want to say that. I don't want to say that something differently. If you attempt to perfect it, you're gonna do perfection with no content and no posting. Just do it and just get it out there. Just like Nike and Michael Jordan says, just do it.
Yep.
I would challenge you. People love it when you're authentic, you mess up, you laugh at yourself. Those are some of the best comments you're gonna have below. And they're like, you know what? Hey, I love that guy or love that person. So I highly
Mhm.
recommend it. And you know what? One thing I share on social media when you talked about the app is a lot of apps that are out there aren't connected to the MLS. So how many times I've had this happen many times. I'm like, hey, we want to go see this house. And I'm like, it's pending. It's sold already. So if you're not on the right app platform, you don't have that information. So share that with your fellowship to get with you and your KW branded app, because it's connected to the MLS
Yeah.
in real time data, which we love.
Yeah, and every MLS, because Mike, I know one of the markets you expanded to is Panama City. Come across your all's listings, it was we're looking for investment properties there, so it's all the MLSs, right? All in one. I love it.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of building on this slide, just so you know what's important, and talking about other things is what would Gary and what would we talk about doing in social media. So you watched this great training, you wrote a couple things down, and then you looked up 2 weeks from now. What'd you do? Oh, I forgot all about that training. You need to make sure that you block it on your calendar. And I will tell you something I did for Profit Share, if you will, every Friday from 12 to 12:15. It was only 15 minutes, and it's on my calendar. So go ahead right now. And Clark, maybe we can pause. We don't no more dad jokes, no more any jokes. We want everyone to just pause for a second, even though this is off script. We want you to pause the screen, and we'll pause it for you. But what I want you to do is I want you to do this activity. Go ahead and put on your calendar 15 minutes, whatever time. And I'll tell you, the algorithms say from 11 to 2 every day has the highest engagement. Go ahead and put 15 minutes on your calendar and call it social media.
Done. Let's do it.
Cool. We're coming back to you. All right. We're moving right along. Hopefully you guys have some good energy. Do we need to do another Ric Flair? Woo!
Woo!
I all joking aside, whenever I'm maybe, hey, had 10 tough meetings in a row, or you didn't win a listing appointment, whatever it is, I do that. I brush it off, and I go, woo! Gives me new energy, and I move on to my next thing, which we're continuing to do. We covered this before, but we want to go ahead, and it's great that's in a slide. Clark and I were just so excited to get it out to you. We were just early. But I'll tell you, if you look at your participant guide, this is community. And I think that's about social media, is having your community. And I'll give you an example of one of the people I think, or one of the groups I think does it really, really well. If you know anybody that CrossFits, think about that community. I see their cars, and they got the bumper sticker CrossFit. Their social media is CrossFit. Everything they're doing is CrossFit. Their hero shot of their picture might be them lifting, like Clark is lifting 500 pounds above his head. So think about that in your community. What thing are you passionate about? And Clark, I know we're going to go into an activity for them, so we're excited about that. Let's roll right into that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited about this.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, hey, we're going to grab another partner, pause, And, and there's some of these, if you're by yourself, maybe you'll do it later. I want you to schedule time with your accountability partner and do this later. If you're not in the market center, you're not together with someone right now, or if you need to pause this and you need to call that person, please do that. You're going to pair up with a partner and you're going to find your market stats and you're going to post those in social media. Well, hey, Mike, I don't know where my market stats are. Here's what I've noticed too. When I started this, Clark, in the beginning, I heard this lore and I heard this other stuff, and sometimes it overwhelmed me. I'm like, well, you know what? It's not authentic. It's not me. I don't know what they all mean. Well, I'll tell you one fun thing that I've been doing is how many listings are available in my marketplace. So, for instance, I think there was like 487 the other day. So I posted on social media, who can tell me what 487 means? Think about that. Have you seen that in your market? And people are like, what the heck is that? Is that how many haircuts Mike's had? No.
I
So
love
people
that.
start guessing below. See, they're engaging. I think if sometimes you would say, and you see your relative friends do this, if you did a post and you're like, 17 houses sold, only 400 available, this average price point 487. That engagement, I think, is going to be low. I think that's a report card, and I like it, but I would just challenge you, think differently. I like the 487. Clark, have you seen anything else that you've been seeing in your marketplace?
Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, that was my thought. If you create curiosity in that post, right? And curiosity for yourself. One, you're probably going to be wondering what people are going to be put. There's going to be humor in there. I love that, the guessing game. And yeah, I mean, putting a stat out there and what does this mean to you, right? How do you think this affects home buyers right now? Receive, folks. Don't just tell, have a spot to receive. So that's great.
That's huge. Well, good. So we're going to pause for them to do that for about 3 minutes.
All right. See you back.
Hey, how was that activity? Did you guys have a lot of fun with it? Comment below. We'd love to know, what were you doing? What were you saying? What was something you're like, oh, I never heard that before. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Mike, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to think through now. Like as I go on social media and see some of the folks that are tuning in today, their posts, I'll say, hey, I wonder if that's from today's session. So that'd be fun to see.
Yep. And we'll make sure we do 7 comments or more, right? That's
That's
our
right.
that's
Oh
our
yeah,
one,
we
right?
will. Let's
I know
do it.
usually whenever I talk or do things, I like my 5 because that's easy. But
Mhm.
7, we'll just do 7. But you'll just think of that crazy guy Mike Dooley and his lucky number 7. But I'll tell you, that stuff works. We're just going to cover through, and you heard us use this word, authentic.
Mhm.
Highly, highly recommend it. And I will tell you, if you look at a lot of social media these days, pictures even aren't getting as much engagement as videos.
Mhm.
Anytime you can do a quick video, just go ahead and do that. You don't have to be in a perfect suit or tie or whatever. Just go ahead and pop a video. Just say, wow, I really love that red door. Would you do yours in blue and gold, whatever it is? Just get that video out there and pop it, use stories at a high level. But I love that our guide, and we'll call this out for you guys, don't be a jack of all trades.
Mhm.
So hopefully you heard that. I'm not going to be the one that's saying, hey, Mike Dooley's creating a community around hiking in Utah. I think that's awesome. And I love that people do that, but that might not be me.
Who
Now,
knows, Mike? Maybe after August, who knows what's next, man? You might love it.
that is true. Well, you might find me in Moab riding my side by side, actually riding by, high fiving them or heckling them or something. I might do that. And we talked about analytics. I would just tell you, go back to your Google. If you can do a couple of these things, Google, when you have a Google page, it's going to start to tell you how many comments are you getting. And when I look back through my notes, and something, Clark, we didn't touch on, want to make sure I highlight here during kind of the analytics, is testimonials. In
Yeah.
social media, as much as you can, hey, my client Tiffany said this about us. If you can share that, that's really rich content. And I highly
Mhm.
recommend that when I look at analytics and I look at ways that social media can help you in a high level. Let your clients tell your story through you on there. So you can do little quotes that had a cool little screen, and we have those in there for command, in designs in command for you, where you can do that. Maybe you even had your little picture to the side and just say, here's what Tiffany said about us, or your team logo. Highly recommend doing that. But understanding what's working. And I'll tell you, in the marketing world, they kind of call that A/B testing. So if you're, for instance, you're doing 7 videos of yourself in black shirt and you're getting 0 comment, well, you might got to go, oh, what's my B testing on that? You might want to change something up, do it a little differently. Maybe I'll tell you, anytime I post something, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of comments. I'm going to get a lot of likes on that. And then I bring in my kids and I actually get hundreds where mine maybe got 3. Well, you know what? Hey, that dad joke was kind of soft. But again, hopefully you guys had fun with us. We're going to recap here on this next slide a few things that we talked about. And one of the things that's not on this slide is your 24-hour rule. I'll
Mhm.
tell you, as a professor at the University of Arkansas, I tell my students, 24-hour rule. I'm going to challenge you guys. What's one thing you can do within 24 hours? Is it the 10-5-1? So remember, that's 10 likes, 5 comments, which are going to be 7 words or more, and
Mhm.
then 1 post. And as you saw on the last slide, authentic post if you can. What else are you seeing in there, Clark? We want to make sure we leave with them from our content. The 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, over those posts, not. I mean, feel free to do more than one post in a day, but yeah, keep that ratio right. That you have a 4 personal posts to 1 business post, and at least 1 additional community service post to really go over the top, right? To be able to be authentic in those personal posts, of course. Yet don't overwhelm it with business, right? People will probably tune you out pretty quick if it's all strictly about business. So just keep that in mind.
I love that you said that, and I meant to share that too. Sometimes just one, you'll find if you follow me, I'm sometimes 3 to 4. If I look at my Facebook alone, there's 5,000 people, and
Mhm.
Facebook sometimes their algorithms limit who's seeing my posts. So I will post depending on your followership a little bit more, 3 to 4 times, to make sure I get the broad spectrum of the 5,000 if I can, engaging on something that I want them to engage with from a business perspective.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that brings up another thought, Mike. I was reading some type of strategic article on posting on social media. So at least in Facebook is what it was referring to, but you can direct your post to certain groups of your friends, right? So you can create groups of your friends. And so if you do have a group, so Kentucky basketball fans, and I put all my friends that I knew were Kentucky basketball fans, and I shared a post that I knew would only go to them, man, they're really going to see that front and center and really connect in that way. So that's probably maybe 201 more advanced stuff yet. As you continue to grow in that, consider it.
Yep, and I actually believe, I'm pretty certain that's in KW Connect. Some great celebrity or KW agent, if you will, did share that one or two.
Oh, yeah.
It might have even been maybe, I think Nick Baldwin has a Facebook page. He might have posted it there somewhere. It might have been Lab Coats or one of those. But I highly recommend if you want to dive in deeper. That's a great point, Clark. I love that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, before we wrap up here, we got an opportunity to have some ahas. Again, write down one thing, but we're going to transition, right? Every single opportunity. If you're in the market center and you receive this content, now you have your action item, right? Share it with somebody, commit to it. But we also go into our daily success system to go through to have the opportunity to role play the forward conversation and to call your database 10 conversations a day, adding 10 to the database a day, writing 10 handwritten notes to those folks that you spoke to. And of course, our actual daily 10-5-1 through social media. That's our daily success system, right? So if you're in the market center, gather together, transition to that point, and go, of course, share what your 24-hour takeaway is in the comments section. So even if you're a market center, you're not on social media yourself, you're watching on a screen, please go back. We'd love to hear what you're taking action on. So Mike, that's it. We're wrapped up, man.
Hey, that was fun. That flew by. Can't wait to see what they're doing and see what they're sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was a joy. You brought in expertise. I learned a lot, wrote a lot of notes down. Mike, thank you so much. And we'll catch y'all next session here. And thanks for, again, continue to plug in your business, growing yourselves, igniting your business. And we'll see you next time.